Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of Hollercast. And we are pleasured to be joined by Mr. Shane Vance, candidate for sheriff in Mitchell County. Welcome, Shane.
Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you, buddy?
Glad to be here. Appreciate y'all having
Yeah,
me.
100%, dude. We've been sitting here talking some, and I don't know, I think what we've talked about just together here has highlighted the importance of this election to me even more. I know that, sheriff, especially in Mitchell County, doesn't come up for re-election a lot. And so I feel like this is a really important one, and we need to make sure we get people out to vote, and that's why you're here today.
Yes, sir. It is. It's very important that people get out and vote because we're passing the torch along, not only to the people that are able to vote now, but in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a very important race. Sheriff is the top law enforcement officer in your county that represents the people, and I put a lot of effort into this because
Right.
I know that. I know it in my heart how important it is.
Yeah. Just a broad general question. Why is sheriff a partisan race? Where did that start?
I had brought that up one time. I thought that it should be a nonpartisan, like a judge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that all starts at the Sheriff's Association.
You think?
I think so. I think it is part of the Sheriff's Association. I'd have to do research on when, but it's always been a partisan thing.
Right.
And I've never really understood why, because in the end, the law is the law
Right.
for everybody. It's really not fair that some people don't get to vote in the primary because they're, you can vote if you're unaffiliated or you're a Republican, but you can't vote if you're a Democrat. And, the sheriff represents the whole county. I thought it should be a nonpartisan.
Yeah, I kind of wondered where that all started and how is it like that across America?
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Mhm.
Wow.
It is.
That's kind of a shame. Well, here's another just general question before we get into your story, and we're going to get there. But
Right.
I was asking Dad about this the other day. Like, what is the oversight for the sheriff's department? Let's just say you have like a rogue sheriff. Where does the county commissioner? Do the county commissioners have oversight over the sheriff's department in some?
Well, how that would be, it would go to the sheriff's training and standards and the sheriff's association.
Right.
Suppose like if a sheriff was under investigation.
Right.
And then from that point it would go to the SBI, which would, an outside agency.
Gotcha.
So that would be the oversight of a sheriff. But a sheriff being elected, there's really not a whole lot of oversight within the county, if that makes sense.
See, that's kind of what I was getting at. Because doesn't that seem strange to you, Josh?
It does. So would that be like an internal affairs kind of deal if something happened?
Even with internal affairs, if the word internal means in your office.
In your office, yeah.
So basically what you would have to put together would be an oversight committee within the county. But even with the oversight committee, you would have to get outside sources.
Gotcha.
and go through the Sheriff's Association to do so, and Sheriff's training and standards. So, that I'm not sure. I would like to have oversight committee, just to keep us in checks and balances and things.
Well,
like
you would
that,
think, it's just like it seems to me like one of those things. You got obviously the balance of power. Right. On the federal level, where you got the checks and balances or whatever. But it seems like to me the sheriff, we were talking about that and we were like, well, the sheriff is kind of pretty unchecked locally.
Pretty powerful.
And pretty powerful, yeah.
Next to the district attorney, you probably the second most powerful person when it comes to law enforcement and an elected official in the county.
That doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to start the interview out on a negative, but that's even more important why we need a good sheriff, right?
That's true. And, with the district attorney, you've got the attorney general as oversight.
Right.
So
it's not that it doesn't have any, just really none locally.
None locally, no. To come from Raleigh, basically.
Yeah.
And that's where the Sheriff's Association is as well. So
who does the sheriff report to?
He's an elected official.
So
basically, the county commissioners, they approve the budget, and the county manager, is kind of like the last say on the budget
Right.
and all that stuff. But
So you could defund them.
you could, I mean, if it came to
guess,
that,
yeah.
you know, if you had a really bad situation or something.
That doesn't seem like a good way of going about.
No,
Something.
I don't think so. And you know, I'd have to do some research if that's ever happened.
Right.
It probably has.
Well, I know we've had some controversy.
We've had some
Right.
controversy,
Sheriff controversy before.
in the county.
You know,
Yeah, we have in
yeah.
the past.
Without getting into
The past.
dirt
Right.
that needs to lay.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure you know some's been removed. I'd have to check into that.
Yeah.
And, you know, there is oversight, but
This is
it's,
funny. I didn't mean to get off on a tangent
No,
or anything,
you're
but
fine. Yeah,
just I thought about that earlier, and I was like, you know,
That's something to think about.
that's something I've never really thought about. That doesn't
Yeah.
seem.
And I mean, I'm very much so ignorant. Like I just don't know how that whole system works.
Yeah, I don't
at
either.
all.
Yeah, me either.
That's why I ask, you know, who they report to, because I mean, obviously it's elected official. So I'm largely ignorant to the way this
large
stuff
counties and you know things like that. They do have oversight committees.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not aware of one in Mitchell County if we have
Right.
one, but I like the idea.
Yeah.
I do. I like the idea of it
Well, it
because
seems like it would be a good safeguard, you know,
That
even if
and-
it's rarely
Sure,
used.
sure.
But, you know, I mean,
transparency. You know, as far as
Yeah.
transparency. Yeah.
Well, and it would be beneficial for not only the constituents, but for the sheriff themselves
Sure.
too.
Absolutely,
You know?
yeah.
It would be mutually beneficial, I would think.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, Sheriff. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Shane,
Shane?
sound bite that's going to be taking it. That'll be on WLOS.
Yeah, that'll be on WLOS now.
The Hollercast guys are in
I
cahoots.
like the sound of that. Though. I like the sound of that.
Shane, let's do a little life story on you. So, where'd you come from? Where'd you go?
Tell us about
How'd
yourself.
you get here?
We'll go way back to 1978 when I was born in Spruce Pine Hospital up here. And you know, my mom was Karen Yelton, was married to my father, Robert Vance. And let's see, I was born in 78 up here in Spruce Pine Hospital. My father enlisted in the Army. Okay, he was stationed in Kansas. I went there with my mom and my dad, and my dad was out in the field doing what you know Army people do, and living on base there. And my mom, she had some issues with substance abuse and partying, and some mental health issues that she was masking, you know, with substances. So while my father was out in the field, there was some issues arose, and DSS over the base got involved, and she had actually left me with a it's kind of like trailers. It's like a trailer park on
Yeah.
the base, basically. And she had dropped me off at another military man's house, and went out to California while my dad was out in the field, and I was almost starved to death. And
Wow.
so yeah, I'm giving you my whole life.
Sure.
history
Yeah, go for it.
because there's a reason for it. And the MPs and the DSS on, well, I don't know what they call them on the military base, but called my dad's parents, and they went out to Kansas and got me, and I lived with them up on what used to be called Bear Den Mountain Road, but it's now Jacksontown Road, which is the top of Alta Pass.
Yeah.
And I lived with them until my grandpa passed away when I was 17, which was really hard. He was like my dad. And my grandma passed away in 2010. Never really knew my mom's side of the family because she didn't reach back out to me until I was like 18. And wanted to kind of, and every kid wants to know who their mom is.
Sure.
So, you know, I went and visited my mom. She moved back here to Bakersville. Went and visited her, and I realized I was able to forgive her when I seen the issues that she had gone through herself in life, and the mental health issues that she had. And, you know, I walked in and seen my senior picture on her wall. So it's like she knew where I was better off. But at the same time, kids, people think that kids don't know what's going on when they really do. They're actually more intuitive.
They're very intuitive. They know exactly what's going on.
And as a kid, my mom promised to come pick me up on Saturdays when I was 5, and she would never show up, and I would stand in the window and wait and things like that. And my grandma finally got fed up and said, "Look, don't tell him that you're going to come and then not show up." And so that's why it was till I was 18 till I really got to know my mom. And my dad lived with us till I was 8 years old. He got remarried, and moved into a place down the road from us. And I just wanted to stay with my grandparents because I knew I was better off there. He had his issues, and that along went with mental health and some substance abuse issues. And there was a time there that he was clean and doing things the right way, but then it's a cycle. Slid back into it, and I don't want to drag my family through the mud by saying these things, but it's just kind of my background of what made me who I am, and how I can relate to kids that have been through the same situation, and also how I can relate to people out here when I'm doing my job, when I approach these people that have been through the same lifestyle that I grew up in and lived through. I know how to talk to those people and to relate to those people, and even the addicts. I know how to talk to the addicts because I've been around them. My life, and I try to give them the benefit of the doubt, and
that's powerful, man.
I just know how to talk to them, and that helps with my job. It's molded me who I am, and I've not always been a perfect person. I've drunk alcohol and partied with my friends.
Dude, who is?
Who
is a perfect person?
Nobody's a perfect person, but alcohol is the extent of the things I've ever done in my life.
Right.
Because
especially coming from that background.
And I had friends that smoked marijuana and things like that, but they knew my background. They're like, "Man, just don't do it around Shane. Shane don't like that stuff."
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that out of my friends and stuff,
right,
when I was growing up. But,
well, that's it's so powerful too what you said. Like, it's so much easier to relate and have compassion with people that are caught in the thralls of substance abuse and stuff.
It is.
When you've known an addict,
yes,
intimately,
yes,
and you come to understand that it really is like, yes, people make their own choices, and they will pay for those consequences.
Right.
Sure,
but
sure,
at the end of the day, it's an addiction, and an addiction is an addiction. It needs to be treated as such, not as
and
as
a variety of addictions.
Yeah, not that it's just a bad character trait.
Right,
you know what I mean?
And that don't mean they're necessarily bad people. It means that they were self-medicating for underlying condition.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I mean, addiction is a public health problem.
Yeah.
Just as much as it's a criminal problem.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how you could look at the world today, here, in bigger cities, everywhere in the entire world, and not understand that we've got a major mental health crisis. Dude. And I think it's brought on by a lot of different things.
Sure,
I think,
sure.
It's good Lord. If you spend every day doom scrolling on this thing right here, it'll give you a mental disorder.
It will.
If you don't already have one.
It will.
True. And you've seen a big increase. I know we're using the internet and technology and things like that, but I've seen a major increase in the mental health issues with kids. I think I hit on this before, but you can't put a kid in front of a video game for 12 hours a day shooting up people.
And expect that to turn out any other way.
You've got to put a limit on it at some point. But that, and along with just the constant hatred and division that we've got going on in the country, and I think,
and this county,
and the
sadly,
in the county, yes. I mean, I don't want it in the county. I know I can't stop that, but
Well, you'd like to think, I've called out a few people, privately and publicly.
Rightfully so.
For, I don't know how you go through what we went through last year, and you're so tone deaf that you go right back to the same old things when none of that, all of those things that divide you, the politics, the race, the religion, the whatever, all of it went completely out of the door, and we all pulled together as a community. And it's sad that some people so quickly
forget that.
Go back to the same old ways. I mean, even me and Josh, like since that storm, we dropped the politics and all that because we're like, this is just not.
It's not. It's not.
I
worth
have
it.
to.
It's not worth it.
It's not.
And it's a net negative to you as a person.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And that's what they want. At the end of the day, they want us to be brainwashed into thinking that that's the way of the world, that we have to be divided and we have to hate each other, and it's what they want.
Yeah.
And we don't need to play into that. Like we need to be better than that. And we showed during the hurricane that we are better than that.
Yeah.
And we can be better than that because there was no politics involved.
No.
During that time, that was the last thing on our minds.
Yep.
And I think it hit hard, especially coming off of that divisive election that we had about a year before that.
Absolutely.
You know what I
And
mean?
it's,
especially in Spruce Pine.
In Spruce Pine. And you've got people, that's lived here their entire lives that want to make a difference in the place that they grew up in. And you don't need that dirty, divisive stuff.
No.
You just run.
At the end of the day, we're all going to have to work together.
We're all going to have to work
This is
together.
a county of what, 22,000, 25,000 people,
Right.
something like that?
Yeah.
And it's not about me or you or him or, whoever's running. It's about the people as a whole, and what you want to do for the people as a whole. It's not about my self-interest. It's not about your buddy's self-interest. It's about everybody as a whole.
100%.
And that's the way I see it. From,
Yeah.
A standpoint is it's for everybody.
Well, where was your call into law enforcement, Shane?
Well, it started in 2000, and my wife and I, we got married and had our first child in 2001, Lachlan, and he was premature, so we spent our 34 days in the NICU up there in Nashville, but they did a good job, and he's doing fine. But that was around the same time that I started law
Just got
enforcement.
engaged, too.
Yeah, just got engaged.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, he's got a good one. But, most kids dream of being law enforcement officers. That wasn't really me. I really didn't know what I wanted to do until I was 22, and because I'd worked at Baxter's and stuff, and I knew from my shoulders from throwing those dialysis bags all day that I didn't want to be there for 30 years.
Yeah.
So I actually went to cosmetology school because I wanted to be a barber.
Really?
And so I started that up at May.
That's ironic.
It is. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
You probably had a little more of that back then, though, didn't you?
I've seen a lot of bald barbers, though.
Yeah, that's true.
We're the best ones because we know exactly, how we would like our hair.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. But, no, that's, it's, I was doing that and working at Grassy Creek Hardware.
Yeah.
And working as a security guard under Roger Henshaw.
Oh,
down
yeah.
At Baxter's.
Jimmy's dad.
Jimmy's dad down at Baxter's. And going to Malin and selling rainbow vacuum cleaners on the side. And
Did a little everything.
Did a little bit of everything
Yeah.
to make ends meet. I mean, that's you got to do what you got to do.
That's right.
So I went to sell a rainbow vacuum cleaner and at a deputy's house, and he's like, "Hey, man, you ever thought about getting into law enforcement?" And I'm like, I thought it was like a 2-year degree or something.
Right.
I'm like, "What's that entail?" And he's like, "Well, you go to Malin for 9 months during the evening classes, and then, you go, if you want to do the day classes, it's, like 4 months." And I said, "Really?" So I went and dropped the cosmetology school because I really wasn't liking doing perms.
Right.
Right. But I just
Perms weren't dead.
I can't imagine that.
No, I just wanted to cut hair. I wanted to do men's hair, and and I didn't want to do color and all that stuff, but I was having to do it or go to Raleigh. I think the barber school in Raleigh or Winston-Salem or somewhere, and I didn't want to leave home, so I was willing to do that to be able to get my barber's license. And but anyway, he mentioned that, and I was like, well, that might be my calling, you know, since, you know, I've got this childhood history, and, you know, and it was my calling. Like, I love law enforcement. And so I went ahead and went through basic training and graduated in July of 2001 and went to work that following Monday. Graduated on a Saturday, went to work on a Monday, had a baby that next week.
Really?
Yeah. So
wow. That was an eventful.
Bam, bam, bam. Yeah. 2001 was a really eventful year.
Yeah, it was.
But, a blessing at the same time. But that, yeah, I mean, it.
So it's just off of a deputy saying that.
Yeah, just deputy just bringing up, why don't you become a... I don't know if it was how I was presenting the vacuum cleaner, you know, that I was, you know, like come across as a good salesman or what.
Right.
But because they tell you, you know, you go to training for that, and they tell you like all these things you're supposed to say. I didn't do that.
Right.
I just kind of did it on my own. Said, look, man, this is what this vacuum cleaner does. It pretty much sells itself. But yeah, I don't know where he saw law enforcement in me, but I guess he was right on, because I've been doing it 24 years now. So,
wow.
And in all capacities, you know.
So yeah, you've got a breadth of experience. I know the first time me and you kind of came in contact was as a skilled resource officer.
Right.
Ryder had a few a few slip ups at the school.
Well, I wouldn't call them slip ups. Ryder's very intelligent, and you know, I'd address the vaping situation.
Right.
And Ryder went behind me and was kind of correcting some things that I'd put on. I'd put some information from the CDC on the bathroom walls about what vaping does to you and things like that, and Ryder went through and corrected them, and
I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, but
that's Ryder for you.
That is Ryder.
Well, let me tell you how you're going wrong here. I know you're the Center for Disease
It was
Control.
funny because it was all sticky notes. Sticky notes.
Really? He put sticky
notes all over.
That must have been right around the time he told me he was going to be like Martin Luther and nail his list of qualms or whatever on the front door of the school. And I said, that's fine. I said, just don't nail it. You got tape it.
Yeah. Use a sticky note.
Yeah.
But that's how he and I met, and we hit it off after that. You know, I was like, you know, Ryder, I really respect your view on that. And I said, but if you don't care, you know, this is during the time of COVID, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, the CDC is not always right, but the reason that we're having to wear these masks is because the CDC said so, and things like that. And, you know, I went about it a good way with Ryder, and we kind of built a relationship.
He loved you, man. He really did.
I love Ryder to death. He has got a mind like no other.
Yeah,
like
it's
he
a unique
really,
one.
He thinks things through, and you know, he wants to find his purpose, and you can't fault anybody for
and
that.
the holes in every argument.
The holes in every argument, you know, and he's very intelligent. But yeah, and you know, I called you a few times, and every time you always thank me for being candid,
100%, man,
and always being respectful, and I was with every child that I dealt with there. That you know, there's a lot that's in a SRO. You know, I've had people say, well, he was only an SRO. I can't believe you're pushing for it.
Yeah, I have a real problem with that. Yeah. A real problem with that, because to insinuate that a school resource officer is somehow less than is maybe one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard in my life.
One of the most egregious things I've ever heard.
I'm telling you, that because you ask any parent today, they'll tell you their number one priority is the safety and well-being of their children.
Yeah.
If it's not, there's something wrong.
Yeah. And I appreciate, you know, I'm so glad, you know, now that that it is. And that's one thing in the county I think that we do right. Having an officer in every school
absolutely
makes I think that gives every parent in this county
Peace of mind.
a peace of mind, at least of some sort, that I know that my kids are being watched out for, you know, and that's important.
And I seen the safety plans and everything that goes into it, and the things we prepare for that, you know, can't be public.
Right.
But the amount of care and stuff that the SROs put into the safety plans and the evacuation plans and the reunification plans and the training, and you know, an SRO is not just walking around the school all day.
Yeah.
Any principal that I worked with at that time will tell you I was usually in their office dealing with some kind of mental health crisis, something along that effect, self-harm stuff.
Well, and none of that. The bad part about it is too, you can't talk about those things.
I can't talk about it in the public.
Right.
You know, I can't name names and come out and say I had this kid do this today. You know, because they're juveniles. But a lot of officers don't realize that job is not just walking around or sitting there looking out the window or directing traffic. There was a lot of stuff, and you know, you had kids there that you know, they'd get in trouble, get brought into the principal's office because they were asleep. And I would take time to go talk to those kids because I had a pretty good idea why. And I would speak to those kids, and they would say, well, Dad got drunk last night and was beating on Mom, and I couldn't sleep. Didn't go to sleep till about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'd go to the teacher, and I would say, look, let this kid rest a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
not every day, but you know, there's more to this than him just being lazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are pieces of information like that actionable? Like if a kid in the school tells you that that's happening in his house, I mean, can you?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
file a DSS
Yeah.
report.
Yeah.
I can, and did several times.
Yeah.
And
I just
actually,
wasn't sure if any of that could
you know,
be.
there's a fine line
Yeah.
between abuse. You know, there is a general statute that if you know of child abuse and you don't report that, you can actually be charged for not reporting that.
Mm.
And that's a great thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, but, you know, Mom and Dad fighting in front of the kid, keeping them up all night while they're trying to sleep, you know, that's something DSS needs to know about.
Right.
And, you know, I filed several reports. They probably got tired of hearing from me, but I always filed those reports, and DSS was always receptive of those reports, and I always got results.
Yeah.
And, you know, those
Where are we at with DSS in this county? I haven't asked. I know that there was a lot of stuff going on several years ago. We talked about it a few times on the podcast.
I think we're in good shape.
We're in a good place
I
now.
think we're in a very good place.
Well,
Right
I'd say not hearing about it is probably a good.
I think
good
so, yeah.
sign. So,
Yes,
yeah.
I mean, I think we're in a very good place that we have people that really care.
Yeah, and I don't think it was anything. I'm not insinuating. I don't think it was anything
No, I think it was a
misconduct
money
or
issue
yeah,
or
it was a
something.
money, and then I know they hired somebody, and then she left, and then there was a
Yeah,
something
yeah,
about
right,
driving a
some
car. Or
contract,
something. I
yeah.
don't know, but
Yeah, that was.
is DSS is a separate department from the
It
sheriff's
is.
department.
Yeah, it's ran by the county, you
Right.
know, but it's a separate department. But we
You work
close,
hand in hand,
hand
pretty
in
much.
hand together. And
Yeah.
you know, when I worked in McDowell County, we actually had a DSS worker in house. That, you know, that's kind of a liaison type person, and if we had cases, we would go to them and say, you know, this is what we got going on, and they would run it up the chain, and that's something that, you know, I floated around the idea of having that in our office.
Yeah, I know you'd mentioned that to me.
Yeah.
That seems like something that would be a great.
It
I
would
know.
be beneficial.
I know, and you know, whenever you want to get into this, but I know one of your big platforms is mental health.
Oh yeah, mental health, substance abuse. You know, drug abuse makes up 80% of the crime. 80%.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can, you know, you're never going to get rid of all the drugs.
Yeah.
You're not. But you have to keep them on their toes.
Right.
And I have, you know, some plans in place that, and went and spoke to some licensed counselors and things like that, and are on board with the youth. Got one that is on board with the youth to do something within the church, and she's willing to, you know, put her information there at the sheriff's office for them to reach out if juvenile justice needs to get in touch with her, and all these things that I've already kind of, some people said it couldn't be done, and I wanted to make sure that it could be done, and they're thinking, well, it's a HIPAA violation if you've got an in-house person in the sheriff's office. Well, I'm not talking about like an in-house person all the time. I'm talking about an in-house person available to meet with these people in another setting. So that's something I'd like to put in place. And
what is let's say you get a call, you go to a place, you've got a person who's clearly having a mental episode, probably coupled with some substance abuse too. Do they have to say, hey, I want to go to what happens if they say, hey, I want to go to a clinic and get clean?
If it's very noticeable that they're a danger to themselves or others, we can step in, but we have to go do the paperwork through a magistrate, and we can step in and take them to the hospital. Now, if they're not a danger to themselves or others and they flat out refuse to go, then we would leave that up to a family member to go do that.
Right.
But if it's something like, an incident like we had a while back where it was like immediate, like we need to do something right then, then we take them to the hospital and get them evaluated and get them the help they need. So, but, you still have to go through a magistrate to get the involuntary commitment. And we've had people, call and want help, and voluntary commitment, and with, but a voluntary commitment, you could leave the facility at any time.
Right.
So an involuntary commitment is better,
right?
Because they're there for until a physician says they can leave,
right? Basically.
So that's the steps there. And you got to kind of have a little common sense and experience in, hey, like with me, I can tell you, with my experience, I can tell if somebody's on meth, I can tell if somebody's on fentanyl, I can tell if they're on some other kind of drugs just from my experience of working undercover in the past and dealing and being intertwined with these people. I can tell you what drug they're on by talking to them.
Sure.
And that's beneficial there when it comes to getting mental health help for them.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about your early career and how because I know some people say,
hang on one second. I got one question.
Go for it.
I want to, before we get too far,
good.
I want to I don't want to say circle back because I'm not in a corporate environment. I might not have that word. I want to go back to where you said 80% of the crime was substance abuse. How much of that other 20% is related to the substance abuse, like theft, other crimes that are being committed because they're addicts?
Well, the theft,
I know you probably don't know that. Like
I do.
You do? Okay, yeah.
I've actually looked that up and did some research on it. The theft, all right. If you're an addict, you run out of resources. You're either going to start selling a small amount for somebody to be able to support your habit, or you're going to commit theft to be able to go sell things, take firearms to addicts, take radios to addicts. We had a big, people used to steal copper, catalytic converters, anything they can get money for. And with that, you got your breaking and enterings and things. Sure. And, that's your 80% of that.
So that all falls under that 80%.
Falls under the 80%.
Okay. That was my,
the 20% that does not. That's your blue collar crimes.
Gotcha.
Such as your checks and fraud and things of that nature.
DUIs. Well, I mean that'd be substance abuse too. I was sure that.
But your fraud stuff and things like that, blue collar crimes. Right. But also there, 78% of the people that's in the prison system right now were addicts. Yeah. It goes hand in hand.
Sure.
What do you think about the prison system, Shane? Right.
I think that the way things have gotten now, inmates have more rights than the actual correction officer. it's got to the point where the correctional officers can't do their jobs because they're afraid they'll get in trouble for doing their jobs. And in a lot of ways, the inmates try to run the facility because they know, hey, I can file a grievance for this or a grievance for that, and they're supposed to do this for me, they're supposed to do that for me. Now, the one thing I do like about the prison system is the ability for the low-level offenders to get educations and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's usually like a trade
Right.
type deal, because, like, you know, with the plan that we'll go into that later that I have, but once you become a felon, you're limited to what jobs you can get.
Yeah. It hamstrings you basically for life.
hamstrings you.
sure.
So what are you
Sure.
going to turn back to?
Right.
What are you going to do? You know,
Right.
You're going to snowball down that hill of nothing but a revolving door of dealing with us every day.
Yeah.
You know, so that I like that about the prison system. Now, another thing I see wrong with the prison system, I don't like the fact that somebody that's been caught with drugs several times get put in the same facility as a sex offender or a murderer or a rapist, because that's going to make them a harder criminal
Yeah.
that we have to deal with when they get out.
Yeah.
And
You think drug related crimes are overly incarcerated? Because I know a lot of time, people talk about the prison industrial complex and private prisons and things
Right.
like that.
it is an industrial complex.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know that I think it's lack of resources. Like, if we had more rehabilitation centers that actually worked,
Right.
and more resources, maybe they wouldn't be as many people in the prison system for drugs. But at the end of the day, if that's that kind of becomes the last resort of, okay, this person's not willing to get help, this person's not willing to change. They evidently like prison, so they keep going back and going back and going back.
Mm-hmm.
And that boils down to a state issue of, should we build facilities for kind of like it's prison, but at the same time some kind of
It's housing.
Substance abuse, counseling involved in, and instead of putting them in the same pit as these other people that are way harder criminals than they are.
The violent criminals.
The
yeah.
violent criminals.
Yeah.
Now the high, the higher up drug dealers, man, they deserve to be in there.
Right.
They deserve to be in there for years,
Yeah.
because they have destroyed so many people's families,
So many people's lives,
and
families.
so many children,
Yeah.
hurt so many children. They deserve to be in there for a long time. But another thing that I seen in the prison system is that we had a guy in there. I know marijuana's illegal, but this day and time, that's like the least of our
It's
concerns.
legal in half the country now.
Yeah,
So,
and the guy was serving 25 years
for
on a
weed.
marijuana charge, and then you had a child molester in there that was serving 3 years. And I'm
Wow.
like, that's broken to me.
Yeah.
And then you had a guy that been caught for DUI 5 times that was in there for 7 years, and this child molester was doing 3 years. Like, make sense.
Right. Do they still even arrest people for weed anymore? Or you just take it and tell them to go
It
on?
depends on the amount of weed, and,
Right.
and are you distributing the weed? Are you selling weed? Are you making a living off of this, or are you? Is it
Right.
is your personal use, or you got to enforce the law, but you do have discretion in
Right.
the law. Me personally, as a narcotics officer for 11 years, 13 years, it all depends on, like, when I worked up at the college, at Leeds McRae College, I mean, you're going to run into kids that have a joint.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
going to run
sure.
into kids that have a bowl. Do you really want to put that on their record for the rest of their life?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I
No,
know.
not me. I don't want to do that. But if they're selling it and pushing their habit on other people, then that's when I have it.
That's a pretty good, fair line.
That's when I have an issue.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to do it yourself and you're at your house, you know, not bothering anybody and you're not pushing it on anybody else, man.
Yeah.
There's bigger things to worry about, you know.
You think they'll change that in North Carolina anytime soon?
It's coming.
You think it's coming?
It's coming. It's eventually coming. Yeah.
I don't think these people would be making these big investments in big.
I wouldn't think so
big
either.
dispensary. I saw one in Asheville. There's one in downtown Asheville now. It's a big, fancy one of those ones you like see out in like Nevada and stuff.
Right.
And I'm like, they wouldn't be putting somebody knows something that I don't know.
Oh God, I mean we grilled Ralph Haas pretty hard about that.
Ralph was like, God dang, can we stop,
please stop talking about weed.
It's tough. It's tough to talk about because you know Trump just had it changed from it was a Schedule I drug. Which is the worst of the worst. Mm-hmm. And they just had that change. But you know, I do think early use of marijuana at a young age causes 100%. A lot of mental health issues.
It causes a lot of,
and that's proven.
Physiological
100%
issues, like not just mental health, like
we've talked about that a
brain
lot.
development.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff. The adolescents smoking weed is not good.
It's just not good for your brain. It's not good for your health. It's not good for
your
anything.
It's been proven to cause schizophrenia and just a wide variety of mental health issues.
Yeah. God, and those vape pen things are
that's killing us. You know, that's
hard
killing, and that was hard as SRO too, because we'd find those, and you know, you can't send it to an SBI lab. They've got too much stuff to deal with, you know. But, you know, they're selling it right down the street here, and it smells the same as any other marijuana that you smell. And, you know, it's kind of put another hitch in enforcing marijuana laws is, you know, you pull over a car and you smell marijuana in the car, that's probable cause to search the car. I mean,
but when you find those vape, none of them are labeled.
None of them are labeled, and you know,
and they do that on purpose. I think
and
too. They keep them to where it's plausible deniability almost.
They do, yeah, absolutely.
And you don't know whether that's one of those legal hemp derivatives,
right? And it's like 0.3%, I think, is the legal limit. How do we know?
Right.
Like, how do we know? How's there a test kit?
Didn't they ban those in they banned the whole hemp derived thing? It's coming in like a year or so.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. But right now it's still being sold. But that's a hard hurdle there, because I mean, if I was had 10 pounds of marijuana in my car, I'd probably have me a little vape pen out there and be puffing on it when I walked up to the window. I mean, you know, it makes it hard on law enforcement to enforce the big marijuana.
Right.
And you know,
is marijuana still big around here?
Oh yeah,
because I know, you know, back in like the 70s and stuff, when kind of a lot of the moonshiners started packing up, a lot of them guys moved to growing weed.
And marijuana's kind of turned into the moonshine of the past, you know,
right?
Or the moonshine of the present,
right?
Is, you know, moonshine. You know, you can go down here and buy Everclear.
Right.
Well, I think Everclear's banned, but you can buy stuff just as close as moonshine.
Right.
So, you know, you don't see many moonshine steals and things like that.
Right.
And that's kind of the way marijuana.
I wonder when the last time I found a moonshine steal was.
I couldn't tell you. It was, I know early, like 2003 is the last one I've seen.
Right.
And, you know, we don't go out looking for them.
Right,
you know,
right, exactly. Now they got a TV show about it.
Yeah, they do. Okay. Yeah, it's totally not scripted.
Right.
Sure.
Well, let's talk about your time. So did you start out with the Mitchell County Sheriff's when you first started?
I did. I started on patrol in
Yeah.
Mitchell County in 2001 under Ken Fox, and I worked there and got promoted in a year and a half to detective, and worked as a detective for about 4 years. And then, you know, like I said earlier, my passion with this was getting drugs off the street. Mm-hmm. So, you know, going back to people saying that I've left the county and all this stuff.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I left the county to get drugs off the street.
Yeah.
And drugs in Avery County are drugs in Mitchell County. Drugs in McDowell County are drugs in Mitchell County.
Sure.
So I didn't see an opening for that for what I wanted to do
Yeah,
during
here.
that time
Yeah.
here. So I went to Avery County to do it. And not only did I do it there, but I worked undercover in McDowell County while I was working in Avery County. I worked undercover in Watauga County, Lenoir, Hickory, all over, everywhere to get to the sources
Yeah.
that's getting into Mitchell County. So how is that abandoning Mitchell County?
Well, I mean,
If I'm going to the head of the snake to keep
Right.
drugs from coming into Mitchell
Right.
County, how is that abandoning Mitchell County?
one would think that kind of experience would be valuable to a sheriff.
Absolutely, it's valuable. I mean, you can't stay in one place and be a diverse sheriff. You have to see how other things are done in other departments and see what works and doesn't work. And you've got to bring all that does work and incorporate it. And it's proven statistics that sheriffs that have diverse experience in other places make better sheriffs.
I don't see how anybody could argue with that.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem. I've heard this too. I'm like, he left Mitchell County.
Yeah.
Well, I for one take that as a great thing. I think you need to go get experience. Why you think I went to Australia for 2 years?
I left
Right.
Mitchell County. I
Yeah.
moved to Tennessee for 6 years.
Exactly.
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's fine.
And it gives you different life experiences.
Yeah.
You
It's
got to
a-
get out of this county.
Lord, honey, I wouldn't leave the holler. I tell you.
Well, I mean, it's a closed-minded view of things of me leaving Mitchell County to be able to bring experience back to Mitchell County, and also get drugs off the street from Mitchell County. We don't have I-40 in Mitchell County.
Right.
Right.
We don't have hoods in Mitchell County. So
I-40, probably the number one drug
that is
trafficking
yes.
gateway in America.
Next to
sure.
95,
Yeah.
yes. I-95, yeah.
A lot of people told me, that I've heard this before. Other law enforcement have told me this, and I never really considered it. But when you think about it, like this area, because of Asheville, where I-40, meets 26 and all that.
Yes.
And if you draw a line between New York and Miami, Asheville is about dead in the middle of it.
Absolutely.
And so everything coming from the West Coast,
Goes to Atlanta,
yeah,
and then it goes to Hendersonville and Asheville. And then it goes to McDowell County,
yeah.
to Mitchell County, to Avery County, to Yancey County. I mean, it's all intertwined.
How much organized drug crime or organized crime altogether is there in this area? Would we be surprised?
You would be. Yeah, you would be surprised. Because, like I said, it all comes from Mexico.
Yeah.
And, that's not a racist comment by any means.
No, it's just facts.
It's fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all comes from Mexico. It comes from China to
Yeah.
Mexico,
Yeah.
then across the border. And we had an open border for 4 years. We did. That's
Just a fact.
just the fact. Not getting on a federal political scale. But we had an open border for 4 years, so we got to clean it up now. And that's just the fact of the matter.
During those 4 years, drugs definitely it.
The influx of drugs coming into the county, it will take us 10 years to get what came in during that time, because it was a free-for-all. And, fentanyl coming on scene is a very dangerous
Yeah, Lord, you can't even do toot no more.
I
You'll do
know.
one toot and you're dead.
Dead.
Yeah,
No
you're dead.
tooting.
Yeah.
Can't even do a toot no more.
They're mixing that with meth.
Can't even-
And, fentanyl and meth, what could possibly go wrong?
Right.
I mean,
Dear
it's,
Lord.
I mean, it's just it's crazy. Like even from like when me and you came up, you know what I mean? Like I would back then. It wasn't my thing really, but back
No.
then I wouldn't have thought twice to take a bump or something like that. But now, good Lord, I told my kids, I'm like, I don't care what anybody says.
absolutely.
I don't
do
anything.
It's
You're
not
putting
worth
your
it.
life on the line.
You are.
Yeah,
You're literally
you are.
handing your life over to that drug and to the drugs that you have no idea where it came from.
Yep.
And
Yep.
you're just
You are.
going to trust
Just
it.
going to go
you
out
know?
on a limb. And, man, I've seen it. I've seen it happen that first time, take lives. I've seen it happen throughout my career.
I watched a documentary a while back on this very topic, actually, and it was I want to say it was in Baltimore. It was in Baltimore, and they were talking to these drug dealers, and it was specifically talking about fentanyl. And these drug dealers in the hood in Baltimore were saying how if their product kills somebody, it actually boosts their business because people will
Say,
seek
man,
it
that's some
out.
hard stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they will seek
You're
it
right.
out.
That's crazy.
Is that not insane?
He's telling the truth there, because when I worked undercover, I had some people with me say, man, that must be some good stuff, because what's his name was totally tripping.
Right.
Like,
Well, I mean, it's Russian roulette.
Let's talk about that. Can you? I mean, without obviously divulging
Oh,
anything that you can't divulge, but
Right, yeah.
I mean, what was give us a best undercover story.
When you say best, do you mean like the scariest situation, or do you mean like the most satisfying? Like what? Or a little bit of all?
A little bit of all of it. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, the scariest situation was I was always afraid to even touch marijuana.
Right.
So, I always played this in my mind. What if somebody makes me do this to prove that I'm not a cop?
Right.
And I was actually sitting in a shed up a holler, and the guy was going to Johnson City, Tennessee to pick up crack cocaine. This is when I was working in Avery County. And he was going to get an ounce. An ounce of crack cocaine in Avery County is a lot.
That's
of
a
drugs.
lot of drugs.
So I'd paid him. He's gone. I'm sitting there in this little shed up in the holler, dude, by myself, thinking that my backup can hear every word that I'm saying, because back then, man, we had ancient stuff.
Right.
Like ancient. And you got the mountains on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I'm sitting there in that shed, and I'm just waiting on him to come back. Sometimes they run off with your money, sometimes they don't.
Mm-hmm.
But he comes back, comes in. He's like, throws the bag in my lap. It's an ounce, about like that, ounce of crack. I appreciate it, man. Well, then he pulls a pipe out of his pocket. He said, I hope you don't care if I took a rock out of it. He said, we're going to hit this right here.
Ooh.
And I said, man, I was like, this ain't for me. I trade it for pills. Like, that's back when the Oxycontin.
Right. Right.
I'm like, I do the oxys, dude. This is just for trade, because my people like this. I like the oxys.
Right.
He's like, no, man, you're gonna hit this. I'm like, no, dude, that's not for me. Like, I do this right here.
Yeah.
Luckily, Purdue Pharma. That's a whole other segment we can go on. But Purdue Pharma are the ones that they actually had to pay out a huge settlement, because they pushed Oxycontin as non-addictive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yep,
know if
they
you've
sure
watched
did.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We've talked about that whole saga.
Yep,
before.
we have.
So they made a documentary out of it, which is a really good documentary.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
But Purdue, they had to pay law enforcement, like, I think it's like $300 million. It may have been in the billions, and they were all about law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
So I called Purdue Pharma, which I was part of the National Association of Drug Diversion Investigators.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for 9 years. I was part of that organization, and what that did is went after dirty doctors that were just overprescribing people. So what I did with that is we got placebo Oxycontins that I could carry in my pocket for cases just like this right here.
Mm-hmm.
So I busting that salt tablet up, and I just went, burns like heck, bro.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Burns
I
like
can
heck.
imagine.
But it's better than smoking crack.
Yeah.
Well, he went to light his crack pipe up after I did that. And I'm like, well, man, appreciate you. And I was out. But when we arrested that guy, he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then I walk in the interview room. He's like, what do you do?
Right.
It's hand to hand. What do you
Right.
do? So that was now when I went into the hood, so to speak, I kind of stick out. Got a little bit of an accent, a little bit of an accent.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there, and this is in McDowell County, and there are cars rolling up like behind me, beside me, like it's busy. Like McDowell County's a different world.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I'm sitting there, And this is while I was working in Avery County. I was just doing this for McDowell County
As
and
undercover.
Mitchell County
Right.
for those naysayers.
Right.
Because it was known for a fact that those drugs were coming into Mitchell County. For those that say that I left this county. I was sitting there, and I'd handed the guy that walked up to the truck the money. He goes in the double-wide trailer. And these people got me blocked in. Oh, my gosh, man. Oh, my gosh. Well, he comes back out, and again, buy another ounce. He pretty much just throws it in the truck. Well, I'm still stuck. And I'm starting to panic. It's like, I want to get out of there. I just want to do the deal and get out of there.
Right.
Well, we're in this purple Toyota Tacoma that it was actually involved in a officer-involved shooting
Oh,
that
goodness.
we had seized from a meth dealer, and it still had bullet holes and stuff in it. So it was the perfect undercover truck. you
Right,
know?
right.
So I thought.
Right.
The story's not over yet. So we get back. I finally get out. Everybody pulls out and leaves. I get back to the rendezvous point, and this is on the funny side of stuff I've seen that it could have been very bad. But I'm on the tailgate of the truck, and we're all debriefing. I'm giving the drugs to the other narcotics officer for them to bag up for evidence. And I just happened to look down. Got a bright orange tag on it.
Oh, it had.
Permanent government tag.
It's not on the undercover vehicle.
Oh,
On the undercover
my God.
vehicle. So,
Somebody slipped up.
well, we had somebody that was a chief deputy that used to work for the highway patrol, and he had put that tag on that truck. We had a California tag on it, thinking what we were doing was illegal, which is not, because
Right.
it's general statute that you can use deception.
Right.
And we had the truck registered. We had everything legal, but you
Right.
can't, people have ways of running tags. Boy, when I got back to Avery County, I was livid. I was like, who put a permanent tag on the undercover vehicle? Well, Sheriff Fry was not happy. We'll just put it that way, and it was dealt with. And the chief deputy didn't have any malice behind it. He just didn't know.
Yeah,
He didn't know. He'd been in the highway patrol all his life, and he didn't know.
Right.
But it could have got me killed.
Yeah, that ignorance could have very well
Because
got you killed.
I didn't realize our tag had been changed, so I never went back to look at it when I got in it to drive it down there to buy an ounce of crack. And so, yeah, that was
That's when you got to be quick if someone asks you, like, yeah, man, I
Yeah.
work for the Parks Department or
well,
something.
no, I got to thinking about it. Like after it was all said and done, I got to thinking about it, and I'm usually pretty quick witted. I said, oh, my freaking cousin bought this truck from a government auction, and we're just waiting on
the tag.
the tag. But man, that put me in a bad spot. But I've been in a lot of bad situations, and I've laid in the woods and watched houses for 3 days, and trying to get this stuff off the streets. And that's why it really hurts me when people say that I abandoned Mitchell County.
Mm-hmm.
Because no, I didn't abandon Mitchell County.
I don't think anybody with a thinking brain would think that's a bad thing.
No,
It seems to me like just one of those things they're just trying to throw at you to.
I think so, but they're going to try to find everything they can to, just it's politics.
Politics.
Yeah,
is
it's
Bloodsport,
politics. What it is.
It's nasty, and it makes me feel dirty just
I know.
being around.
Yeah,
Like, it's so
tough.
bad.
You got to have thick skin, and somebody like me that I do have thick skin, but at the same time, I got a big heart,
Yeah.
and that's hard.
Yeah.
But
Well, some of the things you told me earlier, really disappointed me. Some of the things that
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
you've had
and
to
it's-
do,
it-
and we
yeah.
won't get into any of that. But
Right.
it's just very disheartening and very disappointing as a citizen of this county to see some of the things that have been said and done to you, Shane. And I apologize.
well, it's it's politics, and you
That
kind of
doesn't
prepare.
make it right, though.
It don't, but you kind of prepare yourself for it, and you just kind of brace yourself for it. But at the same time, I'm not willing to go there.
Right.
To go to that level of having to get ahead by hurting somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to apologize for wanting to do something for this county.
Nor should you.
No, and if you can't win on your merits,
Yeah.
you shouldn't win.
To your knowledge, does your opponent have any background in drug enforcement?
Not to my knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I think he probably worked with some, detectives on some operations or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, but not, to any extensive stuff as, going undercover for 9
Yeah.
years or anything like that.
Does he have any experience as a school resource officer?
No.
Okay.
No, he doesn't. He's been at Mitchell County for 15
Mm-hmm.
years, and that's all I can say.
Yeah.
I don't know of any outside experience or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. I know he was a detective at one point, and then lieutenant detective, I think, and then
Mm-hmm.
was promoted to captain.
Yeah.
And
Shane, have you ever had to use deadly force on somebody?
I have never had to use deadly force on anybody, but it's been really close numerous times to the point to where my finger was on the trigger.
Right.
And I would hate to have to use deadly force, but
Mm-hmm.
it has been so close. Like I was getting ready to squeeze the trigger that
Right.
close, and luckily they ended up complying. And luckily the thing that they said that they had behind their back wasn't a gun. They'd pointed toy binoculars at us or something.
Right.
And luckily we were able to identify what it was, and we didn't pull the trigger.
Right.
Been shot at several times.
What's that feel like? Like, when you get done? I just wonder, because this is just so far out of my wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
What does it feel like when you walk away from a situation like that, either where you've got shot at or you seriously considered shooting somebody?
The human mind and body, the way it is designed, is an amazing thing, because during that situation, it's kind of, you get tunnel vision, and your training just automatically kicks in,
Mm-hmm.
like what to do, and it takes you a couple days to process what happened,
Right.
because
Sure.
your body trains yourself, and your mind and your body, it's the fight or flight, and even the part of your brain, it trains yourself. Like officer involved shootings that I've been there when it happened, I wasn't the one that pulled the trigger, but I was there, and that's been on 4 occasions. Actually, I almost got shot myself because I was undercover running down to help the officer, and he didn't know who I was, and here I come down with my gun out to help the guy, and I thank goodness, I yell and I say, "I'm DTF, Drug Task Force.
Right.
I'm with you." He'd already shot the guy, but that was a close call.
Ooh.
Yeah, and me not thinking, just going like to help this fellow officer.
Right.
But anyway, I was on those scenes during those situations, and then the guy that shot the Forest Service agent, Mr. Officer Crisp, I was there that day, and one of the questions that the SBI asked you is, how many rounds did you fire? Most officers say 2, when it was like 8, 9.
Because you think when you pull the trigger, I've made a decision, and here we're carrying it to fruition.
And your brain is in that fight or flight, and you're not counting how many times you shoot.
Right.
And that's I've seen that a lot, and they asked me during one situation that I was at, how many times did he fire? I said, I don't know. I wasn't counting.
Right.
Yeah, that's it's just one of those.
You get grilled pretty hard after those incidents,
You
I
do.
guess.
Oh, I'm
and
sure.
you get grilled, and you have a lot of support though. Like, they offer a counselor and support and things like that. But yeah, you do get. I mean, it's an investigation,
Right.
and at that point, they take your duty weapon, they put it on hold for a certain amount of time, and I mean, it's an investigation, and so that's. But luckily, myself, I have not had to do that.
Well, good. Let's hope
knock,
you don't.
knock on
Yeah.
wood.
Yeah.
And it's something I hope I never have to do. But it's something that's part of the job that's, has been really, really close to having to do that.
Right. What's the single biggest thing you think we could do in this county to curb? I mean, besides I know there's constant operations and things like that. I mean, let me ask you. I guess let's start it here. What's the number one drug in Mitchell County?
Right now, it's methamphetamine.
Methamphetamine.
And
Is it still the home produced shake and bake kind
no,
of
no,
stuff?
that thing.
No.
That's the thing of the past.
Okay.
Now you might have some idiot that wants to catch a Class C felony and blow themselves up, but we don't hear about it that much anymore.
Right.
But in the peak of when I was working in Avery County, we were 5th in the state for meth lab seizures.
Wow.
Oof. Yes, I mean it was at the peak of it, and now, why risk a Class C felony and blowing yourself up when you can go out? When I first started in narcotics, an ounce of meth was around $1,400. Now you can get an ounce of meth for $400. So why would you want to risk a Class C felony?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
And that's coming from Mexico mostly.
it's
too?
coming from Mexico. Now, you do find, not around here so much, but like in other places that I worked, they had liquid methamphetamine, and it was easier to transport because they could put it in different containers and things like that.
Right.
And you still have to do the cook-off process to turn it into the crystal methamphetamine.
Mm-hmm.
So that still goes on. But as far as, full-blown anhydrous ammonia labs and red phosphorus labs and, those days of Walter White's kind of dissolved, thank
Long
God.
gone, yeah.
Thank God. I mean, not, like I said, there still may be some shake and bake labs,
Right.
that somebody's just hard up and don't have transportation to
Yeah.
go pick it up or something. Or, there might be, but
What's the second biggest?
second biggest, I would say, as far as illegal substances, we're getting fentanyl in here. There is fentanyl coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's the second biggest problem. And I'm going by danger. Of course, marijuana's the most prevalent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, of course, that's the most prevalent. But as far as the most dangerous drugs, it's, fentanyl. People, stay away from that stuff. If you get anything out of this podcast, dude, just stay away from that stuff.
Yeah.
And stay away from it all. But if you know somebody's telling you this is fentanyl, please stay away from
Right.
it. Please stay away from it.
Are pills still not necessarily an illegal substance, but
Opiates
opiate abuse, is that still
Well,
big
there
one?
is heroin.
Yeah.
We've got some heroin. Fentanyl's kind of taking place of the heroin. It is opiate, but a lot of this fentanyl is coming from China in a synthetic type form.
Mm-hmm.
But opiates are still there, but not like, when I was on the diversion team, pharmaceutical diversion team, we shut a lot of those dirty doctors down.
Right.
And it brought a lot of attention to these doctors that were really just writing scripts and just throwing them here and there. Like, it's an act of Congress now to get pain medication.
Mm-hmm.
And Ralph Heiss actually helped out a whole lot on that. And I wonder if he still remembers the messages and the emails that I sent him back in my narcotics days about the ID law. Ralph actually helped. It was an idea that I had that I pushed to Ralph, and you used to anybody could go pick up your OxyContin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if grandma's 90 years old and she's got a prescription for OxyContin and her grandson's going to pick it up, grandma's not getting that OxyContin. So Ralph actually pushed forward that you had to show ID, and you had to be that person to be able to pick up that, or show an ID and have it copied, so we knew who picked that script up.
Right.
So that's a good thing that got pushed through when I was in narcotics. And another thing, you know, with the we pushed really hard for the laws of if you were convicted of cooking methamphetamine, manufacturing methamphetamine, if you can no longer possess pseudoephedrine. If you don't have pseudoephedrine, you cannot make.
You can't make meth. Yeah.
So Ralph actually helped out on that too.
Shout out Ralph, man.
Ralph's done a dang good job, man. He's a representative for the county, and he's done an excellent job. And he's always, it's like when he was running before, I'm not trying to get off on another race, but somebody had was down in Ralph, and I'm like, how many senators that you personally know that you can call?
I know.
You know, and he always answers the phone.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I mean, Ralph's been awesome, but he did pass that bill, the law, if they're caught with pseudoephedrine, it's a felony. So that cut that whole out. And we had the Implex, like we had on our phone, Implex is what it was called, and we could put watches on our phone of certain individuals that we knew that were convicted of cooking meth in the past. So when they would go to Walgreens or these other places, we could put their name in that system, and it would go bing, pop up that they just bought pseudoephedrine. So we go, pull them over, arrest them.
Because they had to scan their ID.
Yep.
At the
and
drugstore.
It went straight to our phones. And Implex thing of the past, because like I said, it's too prevalent and too easy to get right now to even bother with cooking it.
Right. Gotcha.
And all the labs are in Mexico, and there was some in Venezuela.
Yeah, there were some.
Yeah,
there were some in Venezuela.
So, last thing we'll hit on today, and we're going to do another one of these too. Okay. So, I told you we'll linger on whatever, and we'll get into more of the policy stuff. The specific stuff, like we change closer to the election, because I want to keep people's mind in this too. Because the election is on May.
It's in March.
March
3rd, yes.
March 3rd. Okay, cool. So we still got.
And then you got early voting that starts in February.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
cool. So you still got probably a month until that.
About a month.
Until that kicks off. Yeah.
Less.
Well, what do you think? I know you have some pretty close connections in the Hispanic community. I know Jennifer Artiega that was one of our very first guests actually.
Yep.
She thinks the world of you. Shane, what do we need to do to, I've been of the opinion for a long time that, the Hispanic community here is a part of this community now. I mean, it's 100%. No longer just a migrant workforce for Christmas trees. No. They're our friends, our neighbors, our partners, our employees, our, friends, family in some cases. What do you think? I mean, what do we need to do to integrate the Hispanic community more into what we have here and embrace that type of thing? And I guess what I'm getting at is, it seems to me, if there are, drug related problems within the Hispanic community or anything. I mean, I know that there's been Safe Place focuses a lot on, Hispanic, domestic abuse, but it's almost like, I feel like we're hamstrung in a lot of ways, but to deal with a lot of those issues, because they're still kind of like a separate
thing.
It's like a separate
enclave,
culture. Yeah, it's like an enclave into themselves.
I'll bring up my history with the Hispanic community, and one of my best friends is Fernando Flores.
Yeah.
And that's Jennifer's uncle.
Yeah.
And how I met Fernando was I was coaching flag football. And I had heard what my son Colin would come home and talk about little Fernando, how they were best friends in school and all this stuff, and they were always so competitive. Like Colin would come home and he'd have a black eye, or he'd have his knee scraped up, and I'd be like, "What happened to you?" "Oh, me and Fernando just wrestling." Like if Colin was winning a race, Fernando would trip him so he wouldn't win and stuff like that. So I was like, I got to meet this Fernando. So we were at a flag football game, and I was walking off the field, and I see this Hispanic guy, and I go over to him, and Colin says, "There's Fernando, Dad." So I go talk to the little Fernando, and I was real impressed with that kid. And his dad comes up to me, and I introduced myself, and man, from that day we were just like best friends. And I'm like, I was coaching wrestling at the time, and I said, I said, "From what I hear, your son is a competitive individual." I said, "Why don't you bring him to wrestling practice one day and see if he likes it?" Absolutely loved it. And then it went on to football. Fernando would have never played football had he not met Colin Vance, and his dad met Shane Vance.
Yeah.
So us as a community, they want to be part of the community. And this is a hard topic because you've got some people here that thinks, they've broken the law to get here. Well, that's not the case for all of them.
Well, and a lot of those people, they're second generation or third or fourth generation.
Like Fernando has been here for 30 years.
Right.
And, how do you blame a set of people for our government's failure?
Bingo.
And that's how I see it. Now, the cartels, the drug dealers, the ones that have been sent back for a purpose and that have come back under different names, yeah, they need to go. But, they are very family-oriented. They're very good people. I could call Fernando Sr. at 3 o'clock in the morning. He would come help me no matter what, no questions asked. And I've adopted Jennifer, and her husband Enrique, and so, it's a hard subject for me because I love them.
I know,
like my own, and people. That's one of the hardest questions people have asked me is what would I do if ICE came in here and I was a sheriff? Well, the short story of that, the short answer is I'd have to let ICE do their job. Yeah. And I would have to, and I'm answering this honestly, I'd have to give them the resources that they needed to do the job. As hard as that would be if they snatched up my friend Fernando, it'd be very hard to watch. But you can't stand in the way of the federal government and the laws and things of that nature. Now, I'm all about getting the bad people out of here.
Sure.
And that goes for any,
any nationality.
Any nationality. Send them to prison when they deserve to go to prison, things like that. And a lot of people believe that ICE is just showing up and just snatching people. Well, that's not the case. They have a warrant.
Right.
They have to have a warrant.
Yeah, you can't just go after round.
No.
That's one thing I've been telling people. You can't just go and round people up indiscriminately for no reason.
They have a warrant, and they have a reason to be there. And, it's been issued by a court, by a federal judge, that trumps the sheriff.
Right.
And, I don't see that happening here. And now, if we get some and I'll be honest with you, I have called ICE on an individual that I was very concerned with that had ties to the cartel. And
I was going to ask you that next, actually. Do you find connections like that?
There is connections here to the cartels. And I actually contacted Homeland Security, and he ended up running, before they could get here. But he was a known cartel member and was doing things he shouldn't be doing, such as domestic violence and
Yeah.
things that shouldn't be okay. Had gang tattoos and things of that nature, and actually did a background check through Homeland Security, and he was tied to Houston. So yeah, those people need to go.
Yeah.
They do. They need to go. We don't need that here, because it makes the Fernandos
Right.
of our community look bad, and the majority of the Hispanics that are here look bad.
I know.
Um,
Well, the other thing that kills me is it's like you see this, this ice roundup thing or whatever, and I tell you what would make me way more on board with it is if you had a way. Yeah, I mean, this is 2026. We have AI in our hands, and you're telling me we can't process an immigration visa
That's what
in
gets me.
less than 2 years?
That's what gets
Yeah.
me. Why
That just
not?
makes zero sense. I don't care who you are and what you tell me.
Because it's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like for me, I have to be fingerprinted to become a cop.
Yeah.
And it's sent off to the SBI lab. It doesn't take long. Like you said, why is it not an easier process for the ones that truly want to contribute to society and become members of the society? Why is it not an easier process?
I don't get it either. I just don't understand.
Because in the long run, the more people that you have contributing to the economy, the better we're all going to be.
Right. And nobody wants to live illegally.
No.
No, you cannot convince
No,
me
that would not
be
the
a
fun
vast
life.
majority of Hispanic people that are here without a visa
Yeah.
wouldn't take advantage of that.
No, they
I
wouldn't.
remember during the Obama administration, there was a short window where that things could be done. And I tell you about every, non-visa Hispanic person I knew was desperately trying to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And so that tells me that you got a lot of people who are here living, and the other thing it does is it contributes to them keeping to their own
Right.
culture.
Because they're afraid.
They're
to spread it.
afraid. Yeah.
And the ones that have spread out, like I've got several families that are citizens, Fernando and the Wenceses, and I hope they don't mind that I use their name, but they are citizens and they're contributing. They're paying their taxes. They're contributing to this community, and their children are loved, and and they're involved in different things, and they're doing the right things, and so people say, well, why aren't the other ones doing the right thing? And there is people that are coming over here just to take advantage of the system.
Sure.
But is that their fault, or is that our government's fault?
All right.
Well, it's just like there's people that live here that take advantage of the system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you knew that you could go into Mexico, I know we're getting kind of out of the sheriff's realm of things.
Right.
No, this is important. I think it's important for our community.
Yeah.
I really do.
But if you knew that you could leave and go to Mexico tomorrow and live for free and have your health care paid for, your housing paid for, food.
There'd be a lot of people going down there from America too.
Hell, I may go.
So that's what that's essentially what our government did.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I know.
And so would you go?
I just think it's high time that issue stops being used as a political bargaining chip.
Absolutely.
And there's about 40 other issues that I wish weren't.
Yes.
And I really think you have to almost talk about these things because of the way that it affects local.
You have
stuff.
to. And the thing in Venezuela, the people are kind of liberated now.
Yeah.
And a lot of people from Venezuela that came in to the United States illegally were trying to escape that stuff that was going on, and they couldn't even go back to their home country because they had a dictator in charge. But there's a lot of things that goes on in Mexico as well, and they were trying to escape bad situations and poverty. Now, I have issues with people that come here. Yeah, they're working, but they're not paying their taxes. And we have dealt with Hispanic communities that have $6,000-7,000 in their wallets because they don't use banks, and they're not paying taxes, and they're sending that $6,000-7,000 back to Mexico, and that's not contributing anything.
Yep.
And it's not fair to us.
Yeah, it's not fair to us. And
so we need to build a system. Our federal government needs to build a system to where that's not allowed. You're punished for that. And these that are doing the right thing by getting their visas, paying their taxes, they need to make it easier for those that want to do that.
And I think like wholesale changes need to come to the Mexican government too. That's the other thing.
Oh,
I
sure,
mean,
yeah.
It's so corrupt.
It is so corrupt.
And the cartels basically run everything. You know, I had a Spanish gentleman tell me, he's like, I never planned on staying here. He was like, we were migrant workers. We would come and work in the Christmas trees.
Oh, yeah.
And then we went home. He's like, but what changed was now if I take anything back with me, he said, I'm usually shook down by the cartel when I get there.
Or the police.
Yeah, or the police. Yeah. The federales.
Yep.
But, you know, what happens is it's created this cycle, this toxic cycle of stuff. And and it's our own government's doing.
It's our government's doing. Yeah, it is. And, you know, they're having to clean it up now. And
it falls all the way down to us here in Mitchell County.
It does. It falls all the way down
to have to deal with it. And it's not shouldn't be our problem to deal with, honestly.
It shouldn't be.
But it is now.
It is. And we essentially have really no say-so, even as a sheriff, you know.
Right.
You know, an ICE agent or anybody else is not going to come up to me and say, hey, should this guy go or should this guy go or should he stay, you know.
Right.
But like I said earlier, they're not coming after the Fernando Floreses. They're not coming after. They're coming after people that have been deported and have been, you know, but deported. They snuck back in again, which makes it a felony under the federal code.
Right.
They're looking for those people. They're not just going snatching. And some people will argue with me that they are, but if you will, it's as simple as a little research. You have to have a judge's warrant.
Yeah.
There's a process.
Yeah, they can't just go to a Christmas tree farm and round up.
Yeah, they're not falling out of the sky with these masks on and grabbing people and abducting them.
Right.
You know, they're looking for these individuals.
Has ICE been in the county, to your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge, no. Yeah. I know they've been in Nashville.
Yeah.
But, you know, we got cartels in Nashville because when I was working undercover, we dealt. You know, we had to arrest some cartel members, you know, when I was working in Nashville.
True, that's sketchy. It
is very sketchy because they don't play.
No, they don't play.
And, you know,
that is an international criminal organization, and you don't mess with them.
No, and, you know, and then some of them hide in plain sight, you know, so that's another thing that people that's against ICE. And I'm not against ICE by no means because they're putting their lives on the line.
Sure.
But I'm like you. There needs to be a fix of being able to get people to contribute to the economy of the United States and our county.
Yeah.
Why would you not want that to happen?
It's about like I told somebody the other day. It seems to me that problem is about like firearms. It's like we're going to round up all Hispanics or all illegals, and we're going to take all guns, are the two most preposterous things I've ever.
Yeah.
You understand what kind of operation that would have to be to do that? I mean, you're talking like there's no way. It would be completely
1939 Walmart stuff.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of level.
Republic,
Yeah.
And you're getting also into like, okay, we're going to just get rid of the AR-15s. All right, so you're going to go into somebody's house and go through their guns and just pick out the AR-15.
Right.
That's basically the same concept of sending. But here's the thing with ICE is, you know, some of these people, and a lot of people don't know this, is, when they're going in with a warrant, they have to process the good ones that aren't doing anything.
Yeah.
And get their fingerprints to make sure that they're not wanted or they're not a cartel member that has been booked in before.
Right.
It's like if you go to, say you go to Mexico And do you think that they know what you did in America without fingerprinting you if
Right.
you've been in trouble before?
There's no way.
So they have to process you some way.
Right.
So when they say people's being abducted, a lot of those people are just being processed and then let back out because nothing popped up that they needed to be deported.
Right.
But the initial
Yeah.
detainment looks
Bad.
It looks more like an arrest.
It looks more like an arrest.
And then
that's
you got that debacle that happened. What was it, yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I mean,
you're going to
that's
have
just-
that. When you've got humans doing human things, you're going to have human error. But like you said, I mean, we've got to have there's got to be a better way.
I know.
But, you know, the ICE agents are doing the best they can, and, you know, they're law enforcement officers. And I wish that, you know, a magic wand.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's no.
Does the sheriff's department have a Hispanic or Spanish-speaking officer?
Let's see. We had one. Enrique was
Yeah.
working there, but he didn't stay long.
I would imagine that's very important.
We have a half Hispanic officer, but he can't. He
Yeah,
doesn't
he's
speak
not-
English.
yeah.
Or he
Doesn't
does
speak
speak Spanish.
yeah.
So no, not right now. But Spruce Pine has two.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Enrique was a huge asset.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can imagine.
Huge asset.
I would imagine you'd want to see that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, get fixed,
Absolutely, I'd like to see that. Yeah, that's and Jennifer, you know, she's doing her translation thing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started saying I know a great interpreter and translator.
Yeah.
Well, I actually helped her get the job at a safe place, you know, and she's been an asset there.
Yeah, she's been there for a long time now.
She's a good. She writes their grants and stuff. you
Yeah.
know. She's been a big asset to them. But
She's
yeah,
come back on the podcast. Jennifer, you need to come back on the podcast.
Yeah.
Talk to
she'll
us.
be
She
watching,
does.
I'm sure. But yeah, they're my family. You know, but you know, I couldn't stand in the way of that. Of, you know, if ICE did show up here, but
Well, you can't physically
can't.
stand in the way.
No.
Yeah.
no, you can't. And you know, they're doing their job and basically following the law.
Yeah.
You know, and it just goes back to the problem our government created.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the best answer I can give you on that.
Yeah.
Well, I got one very important last question for you.
Okay.
Very important. Like maybe the most important.
Okay.
Are you or are you not related to Michael Vance?
I'm going to tell you. Have you got a Bible in here?
I do got one somewhere.
Let me have that Bible.
It's my old Bible from high school,
Okay.
and you'll see
Okay.
why.
I take the oath of office very serious. And if I win sheriff, I take the oath on a Bible. And I solemnly swear I am not related to Mike Vance.
Fair enough.
Okay.
We'll kill it there for the night. But dude, listen. If your candidacy for sheriff runs half as smoothly as that suit looks on you,
Yeah, man.
you're in a good shape. And that is a great tie also.
I
as
appreciate
well.
it. Purple is it's symbolic in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can look that up, but that's our county color. And you won't see me without purple on. And it's symbolic more than that. You know, if you look up the color of purple, what it symbolizes. And, you know, I'm a Christian, so, you know, the color purple was, you know,
Yeah.
also symbolizes Christ as well. So I'm sorry, God, I had to bring his name up on your book.
I just thought that was a very important question. We had to get out of the way. I should have done that the very first question.
Yes, regardless of his deep dive into the
His 23andMe genealogy
whatever
research.
that was. It looked like election something, but no, I have got my lineage, and there is no Matthew Vance in my bloodline. But that's no, and if by chance he was 1% of a percent, I don't claim it.
Right.
Because I am not about drama, and there's no place for that
No.
Amen, brother.
in this county or in Spruce Pine or anything
Yep.
else.
I agree.
You don't hurt people for personal gain.
Right.
If you do, I have no use for you.
So where can people
Yeah.
find out more about you?
Well, my Facebook page
Just Shane Vance for sheriff.
yeah, it's Shane Vance for Sheriff on my Facebook page.
We'll link it in the
Yeah,
description.
we'll put it down
below.
Just my regular Facebook page I've had for many years. I got a notification today that my storage for friends is getting to the point. I've never seen that before.
Really? I didn't know that.
I didn't know there was a
thing.
cap on friends.
Yeah, it's
Wow, you're a popular guy.
No, not really. It's where I've gotten worked in other places and
Yeah,
made
100%.
friends in other
Yeah.
places and stuff like that. But different counties,
Yeah.
when I abandoned Mitchell County. And all
Yeah.
that.
When you abandoned, you
Yeah.
made.
I did
friends.
too. Don't feel bad. I abandoned
Yeah,
Mitchell
yeah.
County.
When I went to get drugs off the street, but that's Facebook and.
Are you
and-
doing any
and-
events or anything that people should be?
Well, the 24th we're putting together a barbecue. I'll be putting that on Facebook. I'm still waiting on I got some paperwork I have to fill out to try to get
Yeah.
the venue, the place. But I'm working on a meet and greet, and I'm actually going door to door, and I don't care to put my phone number out there. I mean, the best place to find out about somebody is to come talk to them or call them.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's one thing we're lacking today is communication, and it just going straight to the source.
Mm-hmm.
And so call me 828-385-6376. That's my cell phone number, and you can call me. I'll come to your house, sit down, talk to you, and that's what a sheriff has to do. And I'm willing to do that.
Yeah. Good man.
Yeah. That's great.
Good man. You're a good man.
I
Shane.
appreciate that, Chelsea.
I'm glad to call you a friend. And
Yeah.
Thanks for coming
Same
on.
here.
And
Thank
we'll
you.
do it again closer to the
Yeah.
election.
Yeah.
We'll talk some next time. We'll kind of talk just specific,
More policy.
more policy type stuff.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to get your thought. I've talked to you a lot about like community policing
Right.
and
Yeah.
how I think
Yeah, we'll
what
get
I
down.
would like to see for that. And I've seen some other people.
We'll
that-
get down to the plans and the nitty gritty,
Yeah.
and the structure of the department, what I see, and what I want to accomplish.
Sure. All right,
and
man.
not want what we will accomplish.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There
So that
you
means
go.
everybody has to tune in and watch
Yeah.
the part 2.
Part two
Part
coming
2.
in 2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Something like
Sounds
that.
good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Catch you later.
Later.